What's up, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. I appreciate all the support, everybody that tuned in last night to the Ohio State and Clemson live stream. Wild game. Justin Fields absolutely lit it up. Probably solidified himself as QB2 in this draft coming up. Although I know a lot of people are still very high on Zach Wilson, but he checked off all the boxes as far as what you want to see out of a potential franchise quarterback in terms of deep ball accuracy, touch passes, mobility. Toughness and leadership. He takes that hit in the second quarter. Comes back, first pass, throws a touchdown. So again, he really showed you everything you could want to see out of a franchise quarterback, and he did it on a national stage against one of the top defenses in all of college football. And no matter how you want to build the Jets, whether it's through Fields or Wilson or Sam Darnold, this helps the Jets. Not only does it, again, increase that value for the second pick, whether you want to trade down or whether you take the quarterback, but it also helps to entice the coach. Now that pick has some value, like Tyson said in his last video. So again, in theory, as long as the Johnsons are able to cut a nice check, you should be able to get a decent candidate in here when you consider, you have the second pick, you have all that cap space, you have the extra picks from the Jamal trade, so you have assets to build something. Whether or not the Jets are going to take a quarterback, I still think that's up for debate. I still think Joe Douglas has no clue right now what he's actually going to do with that pick. I think a lot of it could come down to what kind of trade offers they get. Kind of like the Jamal Adams situation where, in theory, they may have wanted to make Jamal a Jet for life, but not at the expense of, 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick going forward. So this may be a similar situation where if all things are equal, new coach, probably wants to start fresh, new quarterback, rookie contract, not take a chance on rebuilding Sam Darnold. I would totally understand that. But when you pair that against the opportunity to maybe get, 4 or 5 premium picks, let's say they move back from, 2 to, 4, 5, or 6, something like that, and they're able to get another first round pick plus 2 seconds and a third, is that enough to say, you know what? This is a rare opportunity when you combine the Jamal Adams picks that we have plus all the cap space, we could really build a true foundation here for the next 5, 8 to 10 years. So if you're completely off the Sam Darnold bandwagon, you don't think he can be rebuilt, that would be another discussion. Then you almost have to take a quarterback. But if you still think Sam Darnold can be good, in the right system with some pieces around him, this is something to consider. And even less about Sam Darnold. Let's just say you don't even want to, discuss Sam Darnold at all. That's fine. You still need a roster. So other than Mekhi Becton, Quinnen Williams, and maybe Denzel Mims, what do the Jets have as far as foundational pieces going forward? There's a lot of young guys, some talent that's here that I think, could be fringe starters, depth pieces, role players, but where are the impact players? Where are the game changers, especially on offense? The league changed their rules about, a decade ago, and the Jets have still never gotten with the times as far as, having a vertical passing game, taking advantage of the fact that corners can't really, press receivers after 5 yards. Like all these things, the Jets have not taken advantage of in today's game. So I want to see the Jets actually build a foundation. So whether you believe in Sam or not, it's much less about him and the opportunity to build your roster, which we desperately need. We don't have enough pieces. So even if you bring in Justin Fields, you still have a very difficult task of surrounding him with talent. Yes, I get it. You still have those Jamal picks and you still have your cap space. But again, you're pairing just your normal assets right now around Justin Fields versus the additional picks and what you could potentially build around Sam or your next quarterback going forward. It may be too good to pass up. So I think a lot of it will come down to the trade offers. If all things are equal, we're probably looking at a new quarterback because I do think Fields balled out, and that may be too good to pass up as well. But that's probably the way I think Joe Douglas is going to handle it going into the draft. Like, hey, all options are on the table for us. We're looking at quarterbacks, and you really want to entice a team to go above and beyond if they want to trade up and get your guy. You should be selling this like we love Fields. We're going to take him. He's made for New York. This is the guy we want. If you want to trade up and come get him, you got to take the pick from us. You have to really give us something to consider moving back. So that's the way I think he should be selling this. And again, if the right offer presents itself, that may be too good to pass up. You rarely get opportunities like this. Typically, the Jets in their history are always moving up. You look at the Sam Darnold trade, even the trade for Dwayne Robertson. Other times we've been picking in the top 10. We never seem to find a way to trade back, and we usually end up picking guys that aren't really that great anyway. Jamal Adams was good, but he's still not a Jet anymore. Leonard Williams really didn't live up to the expectations of a 6th overall pick. Starts shining once he leaves here. You got guys like Vernon Golston and Dean Milliner. And other picks in the top 10 that didn't really pan out. And, usually those are opportunities for you to move back, acquire more assets. You look at, the Patriots for, almost over a decade. They always had, 10, 11, 12 picks in almost every draft. And they were able to do whatever they wanted, whether they wanted to trade up and, target their guy or trade back, acquire more picks for that draft or the following year. Like, they were always able to do what they wanted because they always had a plethora of picks to deal with. And I think this is a very, very unique opportunity for Joe Douglas and the Jets going forward for the next decade to stockpile picks and set a foundation here. So unless you are completely sold on Justin Fields being, a Pat Mahomes can't miss type prospect, you may have to take the trade if it presents itself. If it doesn't present itself, and you are sold on Fields, that's the route. I know this probably sounds like I'm waffling a little bit here, but that's just, again, because I really don't think Joe Douglas right now knows what he's going to do yet. I still think he's evaluating Sam. I still think there's some belief in Sam, but it also, I think, may come down to the head coach they hire. I'm fascinated to see how that process is going to play out, as far as whether or not, they'll consider a candidate that doesn't see eye to eye with what Joe Douglas may want to do at quarterback, whether it's keeping Sam or drafting a quarterback. Is he going to look for a guy that kind of just agrees with him and wants to go along with what he wants to do? So many questions, so much up in the air. But, you hope they get it right. You hope that at least, Justin Fields playing well entices the right coach to come here, and then we can make some good decisions going forward. So talk to you guys later. Again, appreciate all the support, and go Jets, and talk to you soon.